Welcome back to Beyond the Helmet, a podcast by Victory Sports. I'm your host, Steve McGrath, and in this episode, I'm pleased to bring you my conversation with Jack Driscoll. Now, Jack just wrapped up his second degree in the last 5 years, this one at Auburn. Of course, he's a UMass Minuteman alum as well, but he took the time to talk to me about preparing for the NFL draft, which, of course, is what he's doing right now, but he's doing it in this social distancing period that we're all in. As you can see, I'm wearing a hat. I haven't seen a barber in God knows how long. So we talk about what it's like to prepare for taking your career to the next step during these circumstances. And of course, we talk about his entire line to get here, how he got to UMass, to Auburn, how he's been able to up his game. Now, before Jack tells you his story, though, I need to remind you all that we're brought to you by Team Builder. And Team Builder works with over 500 high school football programs nationwide, as well as colleges in the NFL. So if you need more information about putting together a weight room protocol, go show them some love. Use the promo code VICTORY, VIQTORY, and you're going to get a free gift. Now, without any further ado, here's my conversation with Jack Driscoll. All right, I am pleased to be joined by not just a UMass Minuteman alum, but also now an Auburn alum, none other than Jack Driscoll. Jack, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's a pleasure, of course, to get another UMass guy propped up. Anything I can do to help the Minuteman fam.
Yeah, no, same. When you said that, I said I'd be happy to come on and join you and talk.
I
Excited.
appreciate it. Andy Isabella is smiling somewhere. No.
Yeah,
No,
Andy's actually my original roommate at UMass.
no kidding. I was about to say, did you really cross paths with him?
Yeah, he was my first ever roommate at UMass, and we both got there late in the summer of 2015, and we were the last two kids in our recruiting class to get there because our schools got out later than everyone else's. So he was my roommate, and so it's kind of crazy looking back now how our paths crossed, and Andy and I, both learned a lot from each other, and it was a great experience rooming with him.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you the last two kids from the class, two kids that are going to be playing on Sunday. So for anyone out there that, is one of those last kids added onto a class, they should not be overlooked.
Mm-hmm. No, not at all. I mean, I think can't speak for Andy too much, but based off his training, I feel like he's the same way. He's just using that as a chip on our shoulder and using it as hey, I still, attack each day. Like I still am, not really highly sought after recruit, didn't have any Division I offers, and I still have that chip on my shoulder every day when I train.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. And while I want to absolutely get into the UMass story and of course how it leads to Auburn, right now is just such a crazy time for everyone. It's, we're less than a month from the draft, but obviously with the COVID-19 situation that we're all dealing with, the whole social distancing, man, how have you been able to sort of keep your mind knowing that you can't really necessarily be going out and doing some of the things you'd want to be doing to sort of keep it all together in this crazy whirlwind that you're going through?
Yeah, I think one of the things I've done is, taking it one day at a time. And, I think if you think bit too oh, we're going to be stuck for 2 months here in my house, I'd probably start to go crazy. Just understanding, I have a checklist each day. What can I do today to be better? And, luckily for me, my trainer, he has an athlete-only gym, Mangino Strength and Conditioning. So he stayed open during this time. So I've been able to go and get lifts in. And, a lot of times there's not many people in there where I'm there, if at all any. So it's worked out. But, I'd like to go hit some guys up to work out. Understand I probably can't do that right now. So, I'm just really working on, bettering myself too. Okay, doing the extra stretching at my house, doing the extra yoga, watching the extra tape, because right now I've had more off time than I ever have in my whole life. And, it's an easy time where you can, end up binge watching a TV show for 7 straight hours, but understanding hey, when the time comes, that's not going to help me be ready for my opportunity, because the NFL is such a cutthroat league. You get one chance. If you screw it up, you're out. So I've really been trying to, be productive on all these days and, around the house too. I've done a lot of reading and all that. So really just trying to better myself as a person. And, I think that stuff will help me as a player as well.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely the right thing to do, but having that focus day in and day out when you don't necessarily have, you don't have your guys that you're lifting with because of the situation. I mean, have you found it hard to keep the focus? Is there anything that, you do what's the music you're putting on in the weight room to sort of, crank yourself up and get into it?
Yeah, I'm lucky though. So my brother just walked onto the Auburn team this past year,
Okay.
so I'm with him. So I've been working out with him. But for me, I always just picture back and think like, I like years ago before I even got to college, like I have an opportunity. My dream is playing the NFL for since I was a little kid, and to understand like I have that opportunity now, and that's really what gets me through even more so than music or anything like that. I just understand like I've worked my whole life for this opportunity. Like just because I can't go do some of the things I normally would doesn't give me an excuse to go not do anything at all. Like this morning I woke up early, I went on a run. Just something to, get on like each day get something in that makes me better because like I said, it's who wouldn't want to play football for a job? That's like I see all my buddies throwing on a suit and a tie and going to get a job in the corporate world. That's great. But like me, I love playing football. I love everything about it. And so that's like the days where you don't feel like doing anything. That's what gets me through. Just thinking like, okay, like this is gonna pay off. I don't know when we're gonna be able to go practice as a team, but when we are able to, that's like this is the type of stuff that pays off. This is what separates you from the rest of the pack.
Oh, absolutely. That being said, I just can imagine the distractions available. Yeah, there's the unproductive stuff like watching TV or video games, but in terms of like the mock drafts and seeing what analysts and everyone are saying about you, before we jumped into the podcast here, we really said you can control what you can control. How much of that noise that's out there do you find yourself wanting to sort of take a peek at, or are you just completely tuning it out?
Yeah, it's being a natural human. You want to look at some of it too, and be like, oh, I wonder where this guy has me. But I've been in a case where when I stopped looking, it was like one person has me here, one person has me here. It was so all over the place. And for me, I look back and I said, look, it was the same thing when I went to college at UMass. Everyone had me down here. I was one of the lowest ranked kids in that UMass recruiting class. But look what happened.
Sure.
Looking forward to 5 years, those guys like I think everyone gets so fixated on, hey, I want to be, personally, I obviously want to be the highest draft pick possible. I want to go as high in the draft, and that's any competitor. But right now, I'm training to be the last guy standing. In 10 years, doesn't like look at all the guys who were drafted in front of Tom Brady. Like you're telling me they wouldn't trade their draft pick, have the like career Tom Brady's had. So like I'm really focused on in 10 years from now, are those guys still talking about me, or was I just some guy who had a flash in the pan and then was out of the league in 2 years? So understanding that it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think that's one of the things that helps me approach each day well is just understanding that, hey, they're ranking those guys in front of me, but hey, screw it. I'm just as good, if not better than all those guys. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to be the last one standing out of all of them.
That's awesome. And it seems like, every sort of step here, you've had yourself completely focused in, laser sharp, nothing to get underneath your skin. You're just sort of running your race. And, but what you just said, I was immediately, Derek Brown popped into my head. So you have a teammate that potentially could be a top 10 pick, and he's a defensive lineman. And it's not just him. I mean, Marlon Davidson, Nick Coe, Auburn has been known. I mean, SEC teams in general always have great defenses, but Auburn in particular, I feel like has been able to turn out guys. So what was it like for you going up against, at least three kids that are going to be playing on Sunday just this past year? How much did that help you get better?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was one of those things you had to bring your A game every day at practice. Otherwise, you get embarrassed. And, look, for them, it was the same. Like, we have guys in our O-line who are going to be playing on Sundays, too. So, like, they had to bring their A game. So, it's one of the reasons I picked Auburn because I wanted to go to a school where day in and day out, I tested myself against the best. And, like, even on the days where it's, blistering hot out, in the deep south in the summer and you have a scrimmage, you don't you need to bring it. And that's something that's made me more consistent as a player. It's improved my technique and all that. It just made me take a different approach to the game and understand that, what, you want to be great, you can't take off days. You can't have a day where, you're down in the dumps and, well, I'm just not going to practice hard. It's something that I've really tried to, as a player, be the most consistent player I can. And, coaches know what they're going to get out of me. Some of these guys, one day they're up here and they're great, and the next day they're down in the dumps. They don't want to practice. So try not to be that guy, like guys like Marlon, Derek, and Nick. Like I said, they're great players, and it's fun going against them every day because, the games are going to be easier than practices. So it's awesome. If you do well in practice, you're going to be fine for the game. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. Now, as a Connecticut boy, though, what was it like going down to the deep south and weathering that heat over the summer?
That was also one of the biggest adjustments because, I mean, being from Mass, like you get your hot days. You'll get those days where it's, blistering hot. But in the South, it's like every day. It's humid too. That's the biggest difference. Is like you walk out and you can cut the humidity with scissors. It's so hot, and so it's something. We had a great dietitian at Auburn who I got close with and really just worked on like, okay, like you have to, like you said, being like each step of the way having to be laser focused. Hydration was one of those big steps that like I really had to double in laser focus, because if not, I don't want to be the guy who's leaving practice or games or workouts because they're cramping. So I just sat with her and waking up and drinking a lot of water every morning throughout the day, understanding it's not just liquids, it's what are you eating. um, Really making a hydration plan that worked for me. Because when you're in class all day and then go to practice, it's easy to maybe miss out on some things, or maybe not to take it as serious, but understanding that like I said earlier, understanding that right now that's what's going to be ready for the games. Just really taking that hydration very seriously.
Got it. Got it. Well, Jack, I wanted to just take it a couple steps back to that time where you and Andy are getting to UMass. Can you just tell everyone what was it like in high school? You kind of already laid the foundation a little bit where it seemed like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but you didn't have a lot of offers. You felt like you were overlooked. The chip on the shoulder is already starting to, arrive
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah, no, I
You
mean,
said that you always wanted to get to the NFL. It was always a dream, but what were you thinking in high school, just navigating that whole recruiting process?
yeah. So in high school, my junior year, I was playing. Was my first year starting, and I was like 6'3", 205. So it's safe to say I didn't really have a ton of schools coming to look at me. It was a lot of D2, D3 type schools had reached out. But my senior year, I got about 6'4", 240 in. I started the year offensive tackle, and then I played a little bit guard too, because we had some injuries and stuff on the inside. And then we had a lot of kids go down, so I ended up playing like tight end, like the Y position for anyone familiar with the spread offense. And so I had two offers by the end of my senior year at UMass and West Point. And I wasn't 100% sure about the whole military commitment. And at that point in my life, I kind of just thought, if that's something I'm not sure of, it's probably not a good idea to sign, that letter and put myself out there for the next 5 years plus after college. So I really like Coach Whitwell, and he ran a pro style offense. So like I said, my goal was always to play in the NFL. I had a coach who had a pedigree in the NFL. It turned out a lot of talent in the NFL, and he coached there. And I thought, look, it's close to home. It's a great school. Eisenberg was a big attraction. It's a great program. And I just thought, it was a pretty easy decision. It was school. Going on a couple of recruiting visits, I really felt like I hit it off with those guys, and those guys are still some of my best friends to this day. So it made an easy decision. And then, once I got to UMass, like I said, my goal was always to play at the highest level possible. And right now it's the NFL. But in college, even though at the time I started at UMass, I still had that goal in mind of like, hey, I know I belong. Especially I got it at 240, but I redshirted and I gained 50 pounds. So then I got my redshirt freshman year, I was 295. So a lot of eating.
And as obviously a UMass grad here, I understand how easy it is to put on weight when they have like the best dining
Yeah,
in the country.
yeah, I know.
But can you just talk about that redshirt year? Because, A, did you know that going in? But B, also to gain 50 pounds, and obviously that's a healthy 50 as you're lifting and everything else. What's it like for you just to go through that process? You're probably eating like, 8 meals a day.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like I said with the dietitian at Auburn, it was working with the strength staff and dietitians at UMass too, and understanding, it's what you're eating, but it's also when you're eating. I used to not be a big bedtime snack guy, but I understood that was one of the easiest ways to gain weight is to eat before you go to bed. So I'd buy peanut butter and jellies. I'd be going, late night Burke, and just like even when you don't want to eat, you have to eat. And I would say that's the biggest misconception is everyone thinks, oh, you're lucky. You get to eat a lot to gain weight, or you get to eat a lot to maintain. I'm like, it's not like I'm going to McDonald's 5 times a day and, shoving milkshakes and double cheeseburgers. It's like peanut butter and jellies. It's protein like shakes and stuff like that. It's a job. I would say, honestly, eating and taking care of my body is a full-time job. And at that point, especially, like, I had to, because my goal was to start as a redshirt freshman. And I knew, I can't go in there at 270. I have to be 295, 300 to be able to start. So, force feeding myself and all that when I didn't want to do it was something that I just, sucked it up and did it. But it, like you said, it was a healthy 50. That was something else. I didn't want to go put on 50 pounds of fat. Because then, I would be no better off than I was when I was 240. So really working on, lifting, getting stronger, and eating the foods to help me get to that point. Like I said, I didn't want to be around 300. I was able to do that.
Yeah, and I don't. So it just seems serendipitous, right? Because that redshirting as a freshman, I should say, that gives you that extra year, 5 years now in college. And for those that don't necessarily know your story, you graduate UMass in 3 years, so you actually keep one of those years of eligibility, which allows you to grad transfer to Auburn and then play 2 years as opposed to just one. The fact that you were able to graduate in 3 years from a great school in Eisenberg and then immediately go play and have 2 years in the SEC, I mean, the way that that plays out, man, just like it is a magic formula to give you a chance to really shine it and grow your profile to be in this position today.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, like you said, is UMass and Heisenberg is a tremendous business school. It wasn't easy, those times where like each semester, I understood like I had to take an extra class or two to be able to do that because, shaving off a whole year of graduation, like you can make up a couple of classes in the summer, but that's still a lot. Like, that's, 24-ish credits plus, I mean, even close to 30. So making sacrifices, understanding where I want to go bigger picture, those nights where all my buddies were having fun or playing video games and watching movies and I was studying, at the time I was, oh man, this is hard. But, every time I thought that, I'm like, okay, where do I want to be? I want to be able to get a master's degree. So, like I'm sacrificing that for this right now to study, those Friday nights where, everyone might be going out, understanding, look, I'm doing this now so I can get to where I want to be later. And I think that's something that helped me throughout that whole process was being process oriented, not outcome oriented necessarily. Just understanding if I want to get the outcome I want, there's a process to it. And like you said, it's the days that no one wants to do stuff or you don't want to study, those are the days you separate yourself. So there were a lot of challenges, I really, a lot of late nights in the Auburn, student athlete building, studying, doing homework. But like you said, I knew that eventually it would pay off and it did. I was happy with the way it turned out.
Oh yeah, and just to wrap up your UMass days, your 2 years playing there, you do a little bit of guard, but mostly, tackle. You end up being, all independent first team. I mean, you make a name for yourself. So it's not that you were a complete unknown by any means. You work yourself into being one of those last guys that they recruit to one of the best players at UMass. How did you navigate the grad transfer space? How do you make it known to other teams that you're able to transfer? How do you get on Auburn's radar? How does that just your whole thing come together?
Yeah, so when I left UMass, there was no transfer portal or anything yet. So it wasn't just like, oh, bam, you're in the transfer portal, teams can see it. So long story short, I kind of got blocked from leaving UMass for a while because, they didn't want me to leave, and which I understood because, like it's hard, being one of the better players and saying transfer, especially for 2 years. But so I made a highlight tape myself. I didn't have my release yet. I spent like 10 hours and I learned a lot about editing and all that stuff. But I'll tell you, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life is making highlight tape. That took forever, but turned out, man, I guess. But so I made a highlight tape and I just sent it to people on Twitter. And, I didn't have my release. So they couldn't really respond back, but I had seen somewhere on Twitter that Auburn was looking for offensive tackles. Like, okay, like this could be a good situation. So I didn't have any connection to Auburn. I didn't know anyone down there. I looked through every single person on their coaching staff and player personnel website, and one guy had his profile was open so I could DM him. Everyone else had to like follow you in order to DM him. So I DM'd this guy like, hey, look, like I'm sure obviously you have no idea who I am. I have nothing out on the internet yet or anything. But here's my highlight tape. I don't have my release yet, but I'm working on it, whatever. And he got back to me and said, hey, we can't really talk to you, but just your release, let us know. Very interested. Okay, so I waited. I finally got my release, and the day I got my release, I talked to Coach Malzahn, and he just said, "Hey, what? Come down here next week and come on a visit." And I was like, I don't know anything about this school. The only thing I knew was it was in Alabama, and that was it. I didn't know anyone down there, and I talked to some guys. I talked to Jarrett, actually, was someone he hosted me when I went down there, and I talked to him for a while, so he kind of sold me on it, and he was in the NBA for a little bit as well, so. I went down there. I just really loved the situation. I loved the team. I loved the guys on the team. And I thought that was a place I could see myself succeeding both on and off the field. And, being in a pro-style offense, to go in Auburn's, inside zone power offense, I knew that if I had two systems under our belt, it made me that much more appealing to NFL teams.
And how hard was that to completely adjust to a new, not just, setting and everything in players and coaches, but that the new concept to sort of scrap what you've been doing for the last 3 years and completely pick up. I mean, you you played right off the bat. I mean, you started every game at right tackle in
Mhm.
2018. So obviously you made it look easy, but how easy was it?
Yeah, it was a lot of it. I would say football is football. And you might call it something different, or you might have different terminology, but it's a lot of the same concepts. So it wasn't as bad. Like it was easier to learn that than it was coming into to UMass as a high schooler, and then learning a pro style offense. Because you know, based off of UMass offense is probably a little bit more complex in the terms of some of the stuff we did. But look, it took a lot of time in the film room. In the same way, when I got to UMass, I had to learn a new system. It was the same at Auburn. They gave me an iPad right away. Hey, if I didn't understand something, go to the GA, go to the coach, say, hey, what's my assignment here? Hey, I don't get it. What I do against this front, and it's hard because a lot of upperclassmen, aren't doing like not a lot of junior. And I was a junior at the time, and I played a lot of football, but understanding you have to put your ego aside, you have to ask for help if you don't understand something. Because my goal is to play, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to play. So like I said, I really bonded with other linemen quickly, and I would text them and send them a clip like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? Like, why'd you do that?" And I think that just show people, oh, I'm serious. I want to learn. I don't want to be some plug and play guy. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a leader and stuff. So I really just put my ego aside and just, like I said, really started from ground one. And I really tried to work like I was a freshman. I wanted to be, the guy, be quiet in the room, know when it's your time to speak, but at the same time, work and lead by example.
Definitely. So I wanted to ask, because most guys, right, when they're coming to a new team, it's because they're freshmen, they were recruited, but coming in as a grad transfer with your experience under your belt, what was that transition process like? Did you feel obligated, like you should try to lead because you had that experience, or, but it seems like you were more quiet, lead by example?
Yeah, and I've always been a quiet lead by example guy. I'm not a big, rah-rah, pump up speech, but, I'm just someone where, look, you're going to watch me, and like I said, day in, day out, I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to try to outwork everyone. So I think the younger kids, and even the older kids too, have always taken to that.
Yeah. Um, I saw a quote from you, right, that says, "I'm not a big rah rah guy, but you like to stare someone down. That's more of your style on the field." Can you talk to me about what that feels like when you just drive someone down and you just let them know
Yeah,
quietly?
I see. That's like I've always been told it's the silent guy you got to be afraid of. The guy who's not saying anything, and that's from the days of my youth football. I've always been told, like, gone by that. But for me, I know when I have a guy on the verge of like quitting. And a lot of the guys in the SEC, the D line, they like to talk and stuff, and I just sit there. I don't say anything back, but I talk back, but not a ton. Like I don't really focus on that. I focus on the game. Playing to the whistle, and I know like someone will always look you in the eyes when they're ready to go, when they're ready to fight. And by the end of the game, a lot of times, if I just wear it on these guys, when I look at them, they, eventually they're looking to the ground, they're looking away. I know at that point it's time to like put the nail in the coffin and just finish them because, I know that they'll quit. I know that a lot of those guys have some dog in them, and you got to push them to that point. It's hard because those guys are tremendous players, but everyone has a breaking point, and trying to find it for those guys. And when they can't look you in the eyes anymore during a play or before the play, I know it's time to just put the nail in the coffin and finish them.
Love it. Now, you said when you went down to Auburn, though, that Jared hosted you. Did you mean Stidham?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so
So
Jared's one of the good. I lived with him too this year ago.
look at you just getting in with the guys that are making it to the NFL. How weird is it for you to think he's the Patriots starter next year?
No, he's a great quarterback. I know he'll be successful for the Patriots, and I think I have no reason to doubt why he want to be the guy. And I know if he is, he'll do a great job. And I think he'll continue to bring that franchise to prominence and lead that team to championships.
All right. Now, to see him, and even just as a fan myself, you watch him throw the ball, like, oh, wow, he can really throw it. I mean, you see that he was obviously a top-tier college quarterback. What's it like for, this kid named Bo to come in as a freshman and then try to replace this guy who was a very good college quarterback? I mean, what did you guys as a team have to do to kind of prop him up, or did he just come in with a full head of steam and, was ready to go?
Yeah, he came in ready to go and help because he came in the winter, so he had spring ball under his belt before the summer. But Bo is a kid. He just loves football. He loves learning about football and everything about it. He embraces, and he was someone. He doesn't need much motivation. He doesn't need much pick me up. He's just a natural born leader, and he's a gamer too. Like he is an unbelievable player. He brings it every day in practice, and he's another guy. He's consistent. He never has a bad day, and that's something that we really respect as an O-line. Is our whole line was fifth-year seniors, and you have a true freshman quarterback who's going to prom 2 weeks ago, coming in and starting as a quarterback. And we just said, hey, look, be confident. You're here for a reason. You're starting for a reason. Don't ever forget that, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And do what you do best, and that's just make plays. And look, we'll have your back through the ups and downs, because with Jared, with any quarterback, when Cam Newton or anyone else has been at Auburn, there's ups and downs. It's hard. You got to come back. You might be down on the road. You have to make a comeback, and just understand that you got to be confident. You're the quarterback. You're the signal caller that everyone else is being off of you. If you come out here and you're nervous and you're timid, then that's going to set the tone for all of us. Be confident and be proud. And look, like I said, you wouldn't be on the field if we didn't get the job done.
Got it. That's awesome. Jack, as we get to the end here, I just want to ask about Coach Malzahn. What would you say about him, just for anyone that isn't very familiar with him? He's a successful SEC coach. He's done great things at Auburn. How do you describe him just as a person in like his leadership style?
Yeah, he's a family man. I'd say that's one of the reasons I loved him was, he's a family faith guy, and football are his 3 top priorities in life. And he's really big on the whole family component of Auburn football. Every Sunday night we have family dinner, we call it. And, coaches bring their kids in and their wives, and everyone's families are in our indoor practice facility. And it's something that he preaches, and he just preaches that in order for us to be successful, we have to all be family. We have to have each other's backs through the ups and downs and all that. And it's something I really respected about. And honestly, look, he's true to himself. Like, he doesn't swear. Like, he's never, like, as crazy as it sounds, an SEC head coach, you'd think have the most foul mouths in the world. Like, he does not swear at all. And he's true to himself, and that's something through thick and thin. And look, any coach, he gets bombarded with stuff all the time, but he stays true to himself. He's really faith oriented. It's something that's important to him. And like I said, he's a family man, and that wouldn't change no matter if he was a head coach at Auburn or if he was back coaching high school in Arkansas. He is who he is, and I love that about him.
Very cool. And I just got to sneak one more in here. 2 degrees in 5 years. Obviously, you're a very smart, educated young man. You got, I'm sure, a big, long football career ahead of you. But when it's all said and done, did you have any idea of how you wanted to leverage your education? Was there anything that you maybe kind of interest you for down the line, something you might want to get into?
I want to stay involved with football. I want to coach. Because the reason I say that is, even though with my 2 degrees and stuff, I look at all the coaches who have impacted my life along so far, and it's incredible to look back at how many guys have, changed my life for the better and put me on a trajectory that, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I just think it'd be so cool to help other kids like that who, like, especially me, like, coaching high school football or, volunteering my time, and, kids who might not have a father figure, might not have a mother figure, being that role model for them and showing them, hey, like, look, you can go to college, you can go play and get 2 degrees or get a degree and change your life and your family's life for the better. So I think that'd be something that'd be really fun to do. I said, I love football. I love everything about it. And I don't think I could just leave the game like that.
Got it. All right. Well, Jack, to get you out of here, I just got to run through the gauntlet with you. Couple quick hitter questions. I need your knee-jerk answer, man.
Let's go.
What's most important, having the number 1 offense or the number 1 defense?
For us, number 1 offense, just because I play offense.
Fair enough. Pre-game ritual that you stuck to?
Headphones come off. I just try to stay silent, try to stay focused. I always listen to the same playlist on the bus ride and the walk-in, and then from there on out, I'm straight focused on the game, no music.
Give me a couple of songs on the playlist.
I like Linkin Park. I'm trying to think. It's on the spot now. But I like Linkin Park. I like Future. Just some rap, well, some hard rock stuff. Just get myself ready.
Good. Nice little mix.
Yeah.
Favorite football memory to date?
Iron Bowl 2019.
Fair enough. Kind of hard to top that one.
Yeah, it's hard to top that one.
Now, what's more important? Is it the players or is it the scheme?
Players make plays. It's something, one coach has always said, in crunch time, don't think about plays, think about players.
Got it. I like that. Now, this, I think, is the most important one of them all. Given everything that you've been through to get to where you are today, what is the best piece of advice that you would give?
control what you can control. There's always going to be people telling you can't do something, or you're not as good as that guy. But at the end of the day, if you work hard and you leave it all on the field and you can do all the stuff you can control, and you have nothing, to regret when you look in the mirror at the end of the day.
I love it. Well, Jack, I know that I found you on Twitter. Where can everyone follow you on social media?
Instagram, they can just search Jack Driscoll 71. Twitter, same Jack Driscoll 71. And yeah, I love appreciate the follow. And like I said, I'm not too big on social media, but it's something I try to use and use as a like to touch my fan base and all that. So appreciate the follow.
I love it. Well, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Best wishes with everything that's coming your way.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate your time as well.